So, welcome back to Yerushalmi Demai. We did some Gemara yesterday. I was a bit tired, and I want to give an improved version. So I'm going back to Perek Revi Halacha Gimel, which is Daf Lamed Vav Amud Aleph. Okay, so I don't know what happened yesterday. It did come out okay, but I just want to go over it. So let's see. So you've got no obligation to separate any Maser Ani from Demai. You don't even have to give it a name. Fix its place by saying, Maser Ani's in the north, or whatever it is. You do have to give it a name. You have to remove the chashash of tevel from the fruit. You don't have to separate the fruit of this maser from other peiros. Basically, they remain in your ownership. You're allowed to use them, but you still have to give them a name to remove the chashash of tevel. Now, if before Shabbos, karashem l'chumas maser shel demai, or maser ani shel vadai. So let's say before Shabbos came along, and you separated, or you called a name for chumas maser of demai, and maser ani of proper tevel, lo yitleim. You can't start taking them to give them to a Cohen or to an ani on Shabbos. If, however, the Cohen or the ani were always coming to eat with you on Shabbos, they come every week, then Yavov Yochel, they're allowed to come and eat their matana. So you can't go and take them there specially. But if they always come to you to eat in the house, they're allowed to have it. However, you should tell them that you are giving them maestros. Now, so we got Machlokas Reb Lezer and Chachamim. Do you have to give Maser Ani from Demai? So the Gemara brings it in about this. It should be. If you have Peres, which is Tevel from Maser Ani, basically all the maestros have been separated except Maser Ani. Chaim Misa is pretty bad, worthy of the death penalty. So what's the reason Rebbe Lezer, who paskened, that you don't need to give a name for Maser Ani when it comes from Demai? So the reason is, look, the person, the Amoris, knows that if you've not separated Maser Ani, Misa is Misa b'nei Shemaim, therefore Mafresh, he will separate from the Paris before he sells it. So when you buy it, you don't have to worry. What's the reason of the Chachamim who say you do need to give a name for Maser Ani Shel Demai? Because B'loikach, even if you wouldn't rely on the Amoritz, he's Mafresh Maser Ani, it would be enough, just Kohen, you give it a name, Maser Ani, but we don't have to separate and give it to Anim. So even if we say yes, the Amoritz did Mafresh, there's no chumrah if we ask you now to be Mafresh again, because you're not going to lose it, you're going to keep it. Now, we're going to bring another argument between Chacham and Rebbe Lezer about the Amoritz being believed about Maestros. Tani we've learned. I say Mafresh Sheni. So if you see the Amoritz, he separated Maser Sheni, which is called the stuff that you take to Yerushalmi, and we don't know was he Mafresh Maser Rishon or not. So Haneman the Sheni, if he's believed on Maser Sheni, Neman the Rishon, he's believed on Maser Rishon. Yeah, surely he would have done that. Divrei Rebbe Lezer. He was believed for the first one, he's believed for the second. But Neman L'Sheni, just because he's believed for the second one, Ein and Neman Rishon does not necessarily mean that he's believed for the first. Because of course Maser Sheni, he gets to eat himself. Maser Rishon, however, he has to give it to someone else. So Ma'atav Rebbe Lezer, what's the reason Rebbe Lezer that we say that Amoritz who separated Maser Sheni, even though he must have definitely separated Maser Rishon? Is it Mishum? She'ena Choshed Lahagdim. Look, no one does things out of order. We don't assume he separated Maser Sheni before Maser Rishon. Maybe that's the reason. Or do we say, look, since he's already done Sheni, Chazaka Shehifresh Rishon, he probably separated Rishon as well. When he decides to take Maser, he's going to do the lot. So the Gemara proves from Rebbe Lezer in our mission. Let's see his tip. Well, Tanina, now we've learned in our Mishnah, Rebbe Lezer, you don't have to give a name. Sorry, Maser Ani Shel Demai. You don't have to even give it a name, said Rebbe Lezer, because the Amoritz must have been Mafreshit. Now, he said Demai is part of a Maser Ani. Hasheni, but implying that Maser Sheni, sorry, even Rebbe Lezer would agree, you have to be Mafresh Maser Sheni. Now, we are sure that he separated Maser Ani, but we don't yet know, we can't assume that he separated Maser Sheni. So Rebbe Lezer holds, sometimes in Amoritz, he might take one type of Maser, like Maser Ani, but he won't do the other. He won't do Maser Sheni. And that's the reason. So it's not like the other reason that he makes no difference. You can't tell me, he makes no difference between Ma'aser, he'll do the lot. Because here we're saying, he definitely may not do the lot. He'll do this one, he won't do that one. He may do Demai, Ani, Masa Ani. He won't necessarily do Masa Sheni. So the reason is probably of Rabbi Eliezer, look, that he's probably going to go in order. That's probably the reason. Now the Gemara finishes its proof that since, according to Rabbi Eliezer, they do Masa Ani, they don't necessarily do Masa Sheni, so definitely it could be they'll do Masa Sheni and not Masa Rishon. So he says, Ma'im Sheni, if Masa Sheni, Shein le Rabbi, means Hashem doesn't get Tovis Hadayah. He doesn't have to take it out of your domain, give it to someone else, give it yourself. And we're worried that Amaretz maybe not have done it. And the one who buys it, Sarach lehafish, you have to separate. So Rishon, Masa Rishon, Sheyesh le Rabbi Tovis Hadayah, you have to give it to someone else. Like Hoshkin, how much more so we should worry that Amaretz did not separate Masa Rishon, and we should obligate the one who buys it. There's definitely a chashash that Amaretz did not separate Peres and Masa Rishon, even if he did separate Masa Sheni. So you have to tell me, the reason Rabbi Eliezer, the one who's Mafresh Masa Sheni, he probably separated Masa Rishon, and it's like the first reason, because you don't change the order of things. And if you're doing Masa Sheni, you must have done Masa Rishon first. Now the one brings a brisa and discusses if it's going to be dependent on the Machlokes Rabban Rabbi Eliezer. Now let's say Amaretz brings out Masa Sheni to the Chaverim. And he says, you know what? Padohu, it's all been redeemed. Don't worry, you can eat it. It's been redeemed onto other things that will go into Yerushalmi, whatever it is. It's all been redeemed. Right? We don't know if he separated them. We don't know whether he redeemed them or not. We've no idea. So what was the din? Neman, he is believed. So he is believed that this is Masa Sheni which have been redeemed and you're allowed to eat it without taking Maisa. Doesn't have a din Demai. We don't think he's going to lie. Because Amaris are worried about Kedushas Masa Sheni. We don't think they're going to lie about the Hafrosha nor about the Pidyon. Doesn't mean we can always believe him that this is Masa Sheni Shenifta. Okay. Now, if he says, Podo li updu lachem. Yeah, I did redeem it, but look, if you don't believe me, go and do it yourself. Ein neman. He's not believed. We have to worry maybe the fruit is not Podo. We can't rely on his edus. Maybe he didn't take any Meiser at all. And maybe it's Maser fruits of Amaris, you can't eat it until you're mafish all the Meisers which are required. Now the fact that the Brisa says Amaris, who says about the fruit, which is Peres of Masa Sheni, that's been redeemed, he's believed, and you can eat it, it must be that Masa Rishon was done properly. So he says, Masnisa, this Brisa is Rabbi Eliezer, like Rabbi Eliezer of Judah, Rabbi Eliezer, he says, Neman al Sheni, Neman al Rishon, believes in the second one, believes in the first. So if we know he separated Masa Sheni, he must have separated Masa Rishon, and he's believed on Masa Sheni, therefore he must have separated Masa Rishon first. Rabbi Yossi says, you don't have to tell me this is just Rabbi Eliezer, because it could be Divrei HaKali, maybe it comes to everyone. It goes to Chachamim, who hold ones who know on a Masa Sheni is not believed on Masa Rishon. But here, also I say, this fruit, which was Masa Sheni separated, we treat it like Bikurim, like extra Bikurim of an Amaris. Mata says Bikurim, extra Bikurim, Ne'acheles B'tara, it has to be eaten like Bikurim. Uptura bin Demai, and the Cohen who receives Tosefes Bikurim from Amaris is potter from Chiyuv Demai, and you don't have to be Mafish Masa from it. Avzeh, so also Masa Sheni of Amaris, Ne'achal Mishum Sheni, we are allowed to eat it as Masa Sheni, or potter bin Rishon, and is exempt from Masa Rishon. Why is that? So he says, since before the redemption, the din would be you eat in Yerushalmi with Tahara, right? Like Masa Sheni or Vadai. So it's potter from Demai, and you don't have to be Mafresh Masa Rishon from this fruit. So what we say, Masa Sheni of an Amaretz is potter from Masa Rishon. It had a din that you had to eat in Yerushalmi with Tahara, like Masa Sheni or Vadai. He says here, okay. And you're potter from a problem of Demai, you don't have to be Mafresh Masa Rishon. Just want to see here that we mentioned earlier on Dav Zayin, things which are called Kodesh are potter from Demai. Rav Oishi said because you've got a fear of Kodshin, you're not going to give a Kohen something Kodesh which is not Mesukhin. Rav Yochanan said there was no Demai Takana on these things. We kept it with the Torah din. that you can rely on the fact that Rov Ameh Oretz take Meiser. Yet the Rabbanon did not put a takana. Okay, Tosefes Bikurim is included in this exemption, even though it's not the main part of the Bikurim. It's got the same severity as Bikurim. You see that? So we're saying that this Maser Sheni is treated like extra Bikurim, and therefore it's positive from Demai. Yeah, positive min of diminution. Also, Ruchanan came to Rabisi. The Bryce says you can eat the fruit. Rabbi Lezer, he wants to say no. This is only Rabbanon and Rabbi Lezer, not the Chachamim, which is what the Gemara first said. Don't start comparing Maser Sheni to extra Bikurim and tell me that this is even the Chachamim's view. No, don't say that. This is only Rabbi Lezer's view. Okay? Misha Kara Shem, the Trumas Maser Shel Demai. If you did give a name to Trumas Maser from Demai and Maser Oni of a definite Vadai, you shouldn't take them on Shabbos to give to the Cohen. Don't take them to give to the Cohen or the Oni. Yeah? Kili Masni, so this says don't take them. La Yidnei, don't give them to the Cohen or to the Ani on Shabbos. Because don't give it because the giving itself is forbidden. That doesn't mean you can't be mafresh these things, which you gave them a name on Erev Shabbos, because that's permitted. You already gave them the name before Shabbos. The Tanina Tama. Now we've learned a similar din elsewhere in Beitza. You cannot take challah and matanas, that's right, whatever it is, to give them to a Kohen on Yom Tov. Whether you separated them before Yom Tov, well, today on Yom Tov. Just like you can't take Truma. Beis Hillel Matirin. Beis Hillel allow you to take these matanas and Yom Tov to give them to Kohen. Now, it's not the same as Truma. So according to everyone, you can't take Truma to a Kohen. You can't take Maaseh to a Levi. Right? It's the same issue as what we're talking about. The issue is to take it. Yeah? So our mission as well is the issue on Shabbos of taking these maestros to someone who's fitting for them. It's not the separating, but it's the taking. Now the world continues that the two Mishnayos are talking about the same issue, but we still have two Mishnayos telling us the same idea, but we need both. So we just quoted Chala and Matanas, and we had other things, Maser, Trumas Maser of Demai. Hadar Yafa Minahi, our Mishnah teaches, it needs to learn from the Mishnah in Beitza, but he Yafa Minadar, the Mishnah in Beitza needs to learn from us. Hadar Yafa Minahi, our Mishnah learns from Mishnah in Beitza, he Yom Tov, he Shabbos. The din is the same way as Yom Tov and Shabbos, the same din applies. He Yafa Minadar, Mishnah in Beitza learns from our Mishnah, that the Isra is said, B'limudin, so the Isra does not apply with your common people who always come in your house anyway. If the Kohen always comes for Shabbos lunch, then you can give him this. So the Kohen and the Ani are always eating with the Yisrael, he is allowed to give them in his house those Trumas and Maestros. He can't go and take them. If they always come to his house anyway, they can eat it there. Okay? The reason why some people don't allow you to take them, go and take it there, they're worried. People see you taking Matalas and Shabbos and Yom Tov, they'll think you actually took the Meiser on that day. And they'll think you're allowed to take Meiser on Shabbos, which you're not. Okay? It's Tikkun Moneh. Okay? Beis Hillel don't learn the Issur taking Chala or Matanas from the Issur taking Truma. Okay. Chala and Matanas, you can separate them on Yom Tov. You're allowed to take the Kohen in Yom Tov. The Shama agree you're allowed to be mafresh on Yom Tov, Chala and Matanas. But they still ask you to take it as a chilek Issur, take Matanas Kahuna to the Kohen. Okay. You're allowed to separate Chala on Yom Tov, right? You're allowed to bake Chala on Yom Tov. You're allowed to separate the Chala on Yom Tov. Otherwise, you can't bake Chala. You're allowed to have Chala on Yom Tov, right? So you are allowed to separate Chala on Yom Tov. And Matanas, they was Rav Chaim Bekev. You're allowed to do Shechita on Yom Tov, right? So therefore, Truma and Maaseh, you could have separated them before Yom Tov. You can't separate them on Yom Tov. Okay. He says the heter to give maestros to the Kohen who always comes to your table is not brought in Beitza, it's learned from our Mishnah. The reason for the heter, since they always eat with you, it's not noticeable that they're coming to receive their maestros, because they always come for lunch anyway, right? They're coming to have their Shabbos meal. So that's not considered a Maaseh Issur of taking maestros there on Shabbos. If they're not common to come to you for a meal, then you can't give them the maestros, because no one's going to start thinking of eating his bread in his friend's house. And if the Cohen and the Adi don't start coming to the Yisrael's house regularly, and now suddenly we see, they're eating in his house, it's obviously to receive the matanos, that's why they've come. and that's like giving Matanas and Yom Tov, and therefore that's a problem. Now the Mishnah tells you are allowed to give the Cohen and the Ani their portions, but you should tell them you're giving them Maasros when they come to your house. Otherwise, you are cheating them, and you're over on Gnevas dance. Tony, we've learnt. Don't start pushing someone to eat with you. When you know your friend's not interested. You're just causing him to think that you really want to invite him, when the truth is you don't. Don't start giving too many gifts. You know he's not going to accept them. And you just want to cause, I want to give you a gift, but you know he won't take it. What's this tikrovis? What are we talking about here? It must be something which is not really a gift. Otherwise the Brisa says don't have too many gifts, don't give him too many gifts. What's this tikrovis wording? He's telling you, yada du hurachitz. Let's say a case where you know he's washed his hands for a meal, and you're bothering yourself to invite him to have washed his hands for your meal, but you know he's already washed his hands for his own meal. In Yerushalmi, there used to be the custom. If you were invited for a meal, have a mapich pilkei de smola liyamina. You would move it's like, a curtain of some kind, some thread. They would tie the handles. Maybe it's an arm string or something. Or maybe another type of garment. What do they call it? Sleeve string or something. So they would move the sleeve strap from the left to the right. From your left hand to the right hand. As a simon that you are already eating with someone. And since it's noticeable that you are invited out, no one else will invite you when their purpose is just to cheat you, to make you think you're really wanted when you're not really wanted. So that's what they used to do. Tane, we've learned it about. So, one should not take to a house of mourning because you're taking wine in coloured glass garments, and the wine is not red, but the glass makes it look red. And you're making them think it's a better wine than it really is. You're putting a karasatayim not fitting because the wine is not red, so it's not as good as red wine. The city which has Goyim in Israel, those who give tzedakah, Goyim Mishal Israel, Mishal Goyim. They can claim from the Jewish people and the Goyim together, and they provide sustenance, and for everyone, and they will visit the sick. But Kavrin will be involved in the burial of Masechet Israel and Masechet Goyim, all of them. We comfort the mourners of all kinds. And we bring into their house Goyish vessels and Jewish vessels in a place where they might get stolen, so you're going to bring them in. And all this with Neidach and Shalom for the sake of peace. Right? Rashi's mashma, burying the goy in a keva is only if they're found together with Jews. So there's a chashash of Shalom between the goyim and the Jewish people. We don't visit them unless they're together with Israel. Some hold the burial of goyim even on their own. Some say the Brisa, when it says in Masechet Yisrael, it means like Masechet Yisrael. Just like we bury Masechet Yisrael, so also we bury the Yaakov as well. Alright. Yudai Shalom Ravimi. Some of the weavers asked Ravimi, Yom Ishtar Shel Goyim, the wedding day of the Goyim, Mao, can the Jew go to it? Some of Mishra Lo Menacha, he wanted to allow it, based on a Brisa, Mimnei Dark Shalom, for the sake of peace. And we can allow you to go to the Gosher's wedding in order to grant the peace. The weddings also, the Brisa is mashma, you can't get join in with their wedding. Harabah come and told us, who knows what we would have done. We've gone so far, going to their weddings, we'll end up serving their idols. Right? That would end up being serving Avodah Zarah. Blessed is Hashem that He has distanced us from them. Okay. It wasn't mutter for Darkei Shalom, right? You can explain to the guy you've got various reasons why he can't get to the wedding, right? And if you can prevent from it, then there's no chashash, but one should do that. When you can't explain it because of Darkei Shalom, then you're allowed to join in the meal. If it's like a close employee or something like that, where you have to show your face, that's one thing, yeah? Some say there's Makor Isur joining in the wedding, and some say it's Isum and Atayr, and some bring the Pasuk, Shemayis Lamed Dalet Tesvav. Others in the Brisa bring the Pasuk and is an Asmachta, it's not from the Torah. Okay. Halacha Dalet, yeah. You tell someone who's not believed on Maasros, Kachli Mimisha Neman, go and get, please, get me some fruit from someone who is trusted. From Mimisha Ma'aseh, from someone who takes Maisa. And the Shliach goes and he says, yeah, I got it from someone you can trust. Eina Neman, I'm afraid we can't believe him. We're worried he might have got it from our Haaretz, which is all Demai. But if you tell the Shliach, buy me fruit Mish Ploni from so-and-so, you give his name. And then the Shliach says, yes, I bought it from that person. Hareza Neman, then we trust him. And you don't have to take Maasros, because you've given a name, the Shliach will know you'll be able to check it out. But if the Shliach says, Halach Likach Mimenu, if the Shliach went to that person where you mentioned, and then then he comes and tells you, the Shliach tells you, well, actually, I know you asked me to go to so-and-so, but if I didn't find him, I got from someone else. I'm afraid he's not believed, and you have to take Maisa on the parent. Now, we said, if you tell the Shliach to go to so-and-so, the Shliach is believed to say that's what he did. Entirely related advice. Rabbi Yossi holds, even if you tell him to go to so-and-so, I'm afraid, the Shliach's not believed. Until you tell him, Kach, you take from so-and-so on credit, and I will pay the mice, I'll pay the money later. So since I have to pay the debt, the Shliach knows it's going to come clear if he actually took it from there or not, and therefore he's not going to lie. What's the reason for Rabbi Yossi why the Shliach won't buy with someone who he knows about? The reason is Aniyoma, Echad Korev Matzah, maybe maybe he found someone, one of his family nearby, he also sells fruit. But Lokach Mimenu, and he bought it from him, instead of buying from a person who the Shalach mentioned. So maybe he went to a close family member. The Tanina and Tamar, we've learned elsewhere, a woman who is appointed a Shliach. And she said, Haiskabali, so what's happening? A woman appoints a Shliach to receive a get. And she tells him, you received my get in so-and-so town. He's Kabbalah gets him more complaining. She's allowed to carry on eating truma if her husband is a Cohen, and she get until the get comes to that place, because that's when the get takes place. Rabbi Lazar forbids her to eat truma miyad, straight away. As soon as the shliach's gone away, he might receive it somewhere else, and she's forbidden to eat truma straight away. Right? She told the shliach to meet the husband in a place and receive the get. The husband is a Cohen. While she's married to him, she can eat truma. Now, she told the shliach should receive the get for her in that place. So the other opinion is they carry on eating truma until he reaches that place, right? Until the time that the shliach will reach there and receive the get. Okay. Rabbi Lezer, however, still forbade it straight away. What's it Rabbi Lezer? He says, you know what? Maybe the shliach found the husband next door, and the gerushin was chal then, and she can't eat truma. Now, although she said receive the get in so-and-so place, Rabbi Lazar holds receiving it elsewhere is also suitable, because she doesn't care if she doesn't receive the get in that particular place. The woman who was married didn't really care where the shliach receives the get. It wasn't Akbadi, you must receive it in that place. That's what Rabbi Lezer holds. That really she's Megureshus wherever the get is received, and it could have been next door. He holds the woman wasn't limiting the shlichus to that particular place. She was giving advice. I think that's where you'll see the husband. Right? Giving advice. Oh, that's where you'll find it. Whereas the Tanakama holds, no, until that place, that's what they hold. The woman is particular to receive the get only in that particular place. As did Rabbi Lazar, the dinner of Rabbi Lazar fits in with dinner of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi fits in with Rabbi Lazar. Let's see. Rabbi Lazar agrees. But when a woman tells the shliach, receive the get in that place, she doesn't care that it has to be received in that place. So Rabbi Yossi holds that although the chaver allowed the shliach to buy from so-and-so, he doesn't mind if you buy it from someone else. He didn't particularly say buy it from him. You could buy it from other people as well. Right? Riba min Rabbi Elazar. Now the Gemara actually pushes away the comparison of Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yossi, and it says, you know what? Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yossi are not necessarily the same. They're not the same. Rabbi Yossi riba min Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Yossi goes further than Rabbi Elazar said. But lie by Rabbi Elazar. Now Rabbi Elazar would agree. If the woman says to the shliach, don't receive the get, only in that place, but then she's quite clear. She only wants to be divorced in that place. She said, carry on eating truma until the shliach reaches that place. Even Rabbi Elazar agrees. She's particular. The get should only be received in that place. So she's allowed to eat truma until the shliach reaches that place. Before it reaches that place, there's no way she's divorced. But here, Rabbi Yossi holds, even if the Chaver says, you know what, you must go to so-and-so, he's still not believed until the Chaver said, you take fruit from so-and-so and I will pay the debt afterwards. That's the only case where we can say that it's truly what happened and that he's believed. Right? And he knows that you need added security here that you're getting fruit from the right place, right? Because Rabbi Yossi is worried the shliach will change from his request, even though you've said to him, go to so-and-so, right? Rabbi Elazar, however, doesn't worry about that. According to him, the Amorites would be believed. If that's the case, what's the reason? Why does Rabbi Yossi go so far? You take from him, I will pay back. That's the only reason when we'll believe this shliach, this person who got the fruit. The reason is because and he found a neighbor, he found a friend of the family nearby, and bought it off him, unlike the willingness of the shliach, the mishaleh. Yeah, that's the problem. He might have just gone nearby. You come into a town, you're people walking the journey, and you come in a town, you don't know anyone. But Amma, he says, you ask the town, Mikan Neman, Mikan Maaseh, who's believed, who takes Maaseh? One of the towns said, you know, not me. But Ish played it, so it says, okay. And then the other person is believed. And you can buy fruits from him and eat without taking Maaseh. If, however, when you went and bought from him, from that seller who they said he was fine, he said, and you said to him, Mikan Mocha Yashan, who sells the old grain which is dry? Some different perushim, whether it means grain from after the Omer, before the Omer offering. Who sells the old grain which is dry and is a better quality from that which was cut later on? So the seller said, Misha shlachacha esli, the one who sent you to me, he sells the better grain. They don't appear like they're helping each one out. One's talking about his friend is good, in order maybe the other one, they are believed. You don't have to worry they made some sort of trick between them to start publicizing each other. Right? So one of them is selling Mu'usa, the other one is selling Yoshon. So some learn Yoshon is the idea of Tvuah before the Omer offering. Others say it's just a better quality. So he says, the one who sent me, even though it looks like they're just helping each other out, it is fine. Hachamorim, the donkey drivers that bring grain, they come in the town. And one said, so my stuff is the new grain, and after the Omer offering. My friend's one is the old one. Mine is not. My other one's friends is fine. They're not believed. Yehuda said they are believed. So here, you obviously come to town to sell your wares, and you want to praise your friend's merchandise and put down your own. So it looks like they've made a deal between them, right? One will say for his friend in one town, one will speak up for his friend in the other town, and we're worried each one has got a bonus out of it, get a panos out of it. They are negeh b'davar, and they're not believed, right? In the earlier case of the Mishnah, we're not worried about each one helping each other. Every person praises his friend's merchandise. Okay, there's people in the town. They're not going to do kanunya just so they can sell their merchandise to people passing by, single people passing by. Right? The chash kanunya is two donkey drivers traveling together to sell their wares. And then we're worried they'll make some deal between them. Wherever they reach, people don't know them, they need extra evidence that they are believed, right? So there we are. The Eid Echad Now the Mishnah told us that over Drachim, person going from town to town, he reaches the town, he doesn't know anyone, then they're monitored by Israel, you can rely on the Eidus of the person, you can go to him. The Eid Echad Now, one Eid is believed, from Maestros, on Rav Yochanan, Well, usually you shouldn't rely on Amoritz for Maestros, but here, Kal Hekilu Basanoi, they have a special leniency, the Chachamim, for people traveling, because what else will you eat? Tani, we learned in the Brisa, people passing by and they come in the town, they don't know anyone, you're standing there at the threshing area, you don't know anyone, you want to buy tvua from someone who's believed, you can check out between the Chaver and Amoritz who's believed about Trumas Maestros, different from Gamliel. So you can ask between you ask the different people. No, you have to ask a Chaver, someone who's particular on Truma Tahara. You can't ask anyone. Because you can't rely on Amoritz to believe it, to say who's believed, to separate Truma. Right? This is the Goyre. But Truma might not yet have been taken. When you're buying it in the town, you don't have to worry that Truma has not yet been taken. Maestros you have to worry about. And then you can rely on this, even Amoritz. But here we're talking about in the Goyren, so there's a problem with Truma not being taken. Said Rameir, the Rebbe Rameir. We did a Rebbe who said you speak to a Chaver, is like Rameir. Yerushalmi Gamliel, which he tells Yerushalmi Gamliel, according to his own reckoning, we've learnt elsewhere with B'choros, any blemishes which would come lava b'nei Adam, which might come through human action. Let's say a b'chor's eye can be blinded, or a leg can be broken, or whatever. We say, it might have happened like this. So you can't allow the b'chor behema without edus that they came of their own accord, right? Mumin, which you can't really do yourself, like this animal's got 5 legs, right? Or he's got a massive eye and the other smaller eye. Then you don't have to worry. Therefore, the mum is permitted, right? Without any edus. So, if it's possibly man-made, the Jewish shepherds are believed to say these came from their own accord, but Kohenim, Rabbi said you can't always trust the Kohenim, right? There was a problem with the Kohenim. What I say should be a kapara for my antecedents. That the Kohenim sometimes, a mum, after the Beis Hamikdash, a bachor, if it's an animal, behema tahira, there was nothing you could do with it. Right? Couldn't be a carbon, because it had a blemish. So it was a problem. So, without a blemish, if it was tahir, it was fine. Without a blemish, it was a problem. You couldn't do anything with it. There was no Beis Hamikdash. So they were problematic in that sometimes they caused blemishes to happen, right? Intentionally. So then it can be poideris, and then it loses the problem. So that's why all this should be a kapara for any antecedents I have, I don't know if that's the right word, who may have put blemishes on their animals intentionally. Those Kohenim of long ago. But nowadays, the Kohenim would never do that. Anyway, nowadays, of course, we avoid the problem because we get any b'chor behema tahira. We get a guy to have a share in the mother before the child is born, before the new calf is born or the new goat is born, and then the din doesn't apply, yeah? Doesn't apply when a guy has a chelek in the mother. So that's what we do nowadays. So Roy and Kohenim, the shepherds of the Kohenim, you can't trust them. They don't know money. They're nasha that the Kohenim tell their shepherds, we'll try and do a blemish if you can. He says, who the Kohen is believed to speak. Al Shal Chaveroi, for his friend. Be'ena Ne'eman Al Shanas, he's not believed for himself. He says, Al Chashad Al Adava, with the suspect on putting a blemish. Loi Donoi, he can't be a dayan about this, which is suspect. Loi Me'idai, he can't give evidence at all, even about his friend's Bechor. Shimshon Gamliel, who holds a Kohen who's suspect on his own Bechor, is believed for his friend's Bechor, and he agrees also that Amoritz, who's chashad on fruit, is believed on Paris of his friend. But Rebbe argues, he says that Amoritz is chashad on Trumas Maseh, is not believed on Paris of his friend, because according to him, he holds like Reb Meir that Cohen who's chashad to put a blemish is not believed to give evidence even for his friend's animal, right? Now the Gemara says, what's the argument of Shimon Gamliel and Rebbe? Shimon Gamliel allows normal people passing by, journeyfarers, to rely on the edus of Amoritz, and Rebbe didn't allow it. It's talking about a case of the people are going and they want to buy, likach, to buy fruit. If they want to, if he wants to give it out, let's say these people want to give out truma, you can give it to a kohen as a chaver. If Shimon Gamliel moider, if you want to give out, and you ask Amoris, who can I give? Who's believed I can give him Truma? Don't rely on the Amoritz to tell you who you can give it to. You hear that? If he would agree, it's one thing to believe in Amoritz about his friend the Amoritz, but if you've got actual Truma to give out, don't just rely on him as to who to give it to, who's fitting to receive it. Right? Truma you have to eat instead of Tahara. Amoritz doesn't treat it as Tahara, so we can't give him Truma. Give it to a Chaver. If over Drachim are going in the town, they want to give Truma to someone who's fitting, so you're asking, who can I give it to? Don't rely on the Amoritz. Now, what's the reason Rav Shimon Gamliel agrees with Rebbe with giving out Truma? Ma ben nachalik, ma ben likach. What's the difference between giving out and taking? We can't believe the Amoritz as far as giving it out. And buying it, you can believe. The difference is kol yoseh lechiluk. The noise goes out when you're giving it out. Everyone knows, whose Eidos you're relying on. So Rav Shimon Gamliel's machmir Amoritz not believed. Buying fruit, there's no kol. We won't know who you relied on. You can rely on the Eidos Amoritz to give the Eidos who you can buy from. So it seems the difference is when you're giving it out, everyone hears about it, right? Who you're relying on. So I don't want an Amoritz. Everyone's going to hear about it. I don't want everyone to hear that you relied on Amoritz to give out Truma. Tiny related to the right. You go in the town and you find different groups. Abba says, "Me can't have who's believed? Me can't mas who takes mas?" Abba one said, "Ani never I believe." If others told him, "Shuhu never," to the people passing by. Yeah, he's believed. I raised that name on. This person who said he's believed, and other people said, yes, he is believed, then he's believed. If the others said, not so fast, he's not believed. So the din is, but fun of, if they said it in front of him, their Eidos is accepted, and we can't believe him. But if they were quiet when he said it, and afterwards they said to him, I don't know if you rely on him, I'm afraid the Eidos is not accepted, and he is believed. So if they said it in front of him, then we don't accept him. But if they said it behind his back, then we do accept him. He's explained the price in two ways. It could be, it's talking about Bebenir, he's in the town, he says he's believed. And then the people give Eidos, B'sios Chaverim. They're giving Eidos, they are, there's different groups. If they're giving Eidos, B'sios, like helping each other. Chaverim are the ones who are speaking. If the people giving Eidos are Amei Aretz, then we're worried that each one has helped each other. So it's only, see this again, so that it could be the Ben Ir says he's believed, and the people who give evidence about him who support him are Chaverim. Fine. But if they are Me'aretz, I'm afraid that doesn't necessarily help us. Or V'Arsanai, it could be, we're talking about someone who's journeying from town to town, and he comes and says, I'm believed. And the people with him could be even C.S. Amoritz, they may be Amoritz coming with him, they're also journeying with him, and we may listen to them, right? Because with someone journeying around, there's no chashash kunonia. They're not always around, they're journeying around. These guys come from who knows where. These people, we can rely on the Eidos of Amoritz, who is of seller, who is believed. But Kasha Rabbi Yoda. But we have a question. How can this Bryce say that it's talking about Chaverim are the ones supporting? Chaverim are supporting this person. And the Bryce says that if they believe it, say he's not believed. Shaloi b'fanov. Now, if they said, the correct goes to here, we said, if they are speaking behind his back, we say we don't believe them. Right? He said he's believed. They speak behind his back, we don't believe them. But if they're Chaverim, why should we not believe them? So, it should be Shaloi b'fanov. And you said, if they give Eidos that he's not believed, not in front of him, then, now, whether it's Naaman or Einon Naaman, some to fit it into the brisa. He says the Eidos is not accepted because they're speaking behind his back. That doesn't make sense. So he is believed and their Eidos is not believed. Chaverim not being believed? You're worried Chaverim are going to lie? It must be, it's talking about the people who are supporting, giving the advice, our group of Amei Haaretz. And then when they give Eidos not in front of him, we're saying they're not saying the truth. Right? Chaverim, you would always believe Chaverim, whether the guy is in front of them or not in front of them. Now, Chamarim Shenichnu Suleh, if the donkey drivers come in the town, and they're all taking Tvor in, and one said, well, my stuff is Chodosh, this one, my friend's one is Yosham, mine is not tied, my friend's one is tied, they're not believed. Rabbi Yehuda said they are believed. What's the reason Rabbi Yehuda you can rely on the Eidos of the donkey driver? It's needed for the food for the town. So we rely on them because people need food. What's the reason that we're not worried to do the chiyus of a tan? People can get easy food from elsewhere. You don't have to start relying on this for the sake of your food. Okay, Rabbi say.